Hey, hello everyone. I'm glad you're all here. It's another live. I may do two live streams after one another with a little break in between. But we're going to start with the Annie Börjesson case. And this is an old case from 2005, so it's 17 years old already. I see Tammy's here. I'm glad you're here, Tammy. Everyone else is here. Please report yourself in the live chat. Thank you very much. Now, without further ado, let me just go right into it. So let me begin to share my screen. Oh, well, Lad is here. The manager's here too. I'm glad you're all here. So just one thing I want to say before I begin with today's class. Privacy is not power. Prudence is. Repeat it after me in the live chat so that I know you get this. Privacy is not power. Prudence is. And as you know, I have two screens. So this screen, I have StreamYard. I can read your comments also. This is the screen I'm going to show from which I'm going to show things on. So that's why you see the webcam over there. So I did a little bit of rearrangement in the living room also. So okay, Shani's here too. I'm glad you're here, Shani. It's all right. Share screen. Hold on. Share. So let me know if you can see it. Oh, what's prudence? Prudence simply means your attitude is that you're concerned with the future. Okay, prudence is not the same as paranoia. Paranoia simply means that you've lost your mind, always expecting the worst. Prudence is not being careful. Careful means there's danger all around and you need to watch out nothing bad happens to you. That's being careful. Prudence is that you're calm, but you're calm in a practical way. You pay attention to your environment and you realize that what happens now can affect the future for the worse or for the better. So you are realistic about this and you act in a proper way. That's what it is. Privacy is not power. Prudence is. All right, I see John is here too. I'm glad you're here, John. So let me start with this. This is the victim, Annie Börjesson from Sweden. There's a little memorial they've made for her in Scotland. So instead of you hearing me talk a lot, I'm glad you're here, Joanna. You're right on time. Privacy is not power, prudence is. So let's start with what mainstream media is saying about this. Because as you know, mainstream media often uses voodoo. All right, explain this in a previous live stream. So now, let's go to Sky News. All right. There's some annoying ads over here. I need to maybe need to get a better ad blocker, but anyway. Can you all see the screen with the article of Sky News? It's from the 4th of December 2020. Can everyone see it? Let me know in the live chat, please. Thank you very much. All right. So you can see it? Okay, let's begin. Annie Bergsson death. Family want post-mortem pictures released to help solve mystery. No, 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 no. The title already is disturbing because the title shows you someone died. And it shows you that the relatives of the individual that died wants to see the autopsy pictures to solve the mystery. So the death of this individual is a mystery that the family wants to solve, but someone is hindering them from solving it. So this long title over here speaks volumes. This I want you to remember. Anytime you see a news article, pay attention to the title of the article. All right, because um, this how food also works. You warn people ahead what they're about to get. If what they're about to get is disturbing, so that when they're there, they can't blame you because you hinted them it was about to happen. But okay, Police Scotland says Annie's death was fully investigated at the time and has also been subjected to review. Is quote unquote. Why is it between quotation marks? It is between quotation marks because this is not something that the news reporter agrees with. This is a quote from a spokesperson from the Scottish police. Now, one thing you need to understand about Scotland is a constituent country of the United Kingdom. Scotland, England, Wales, and Northern Ireland are a union called the United Kingdom. Officially, United Kingdom of Great Britain, and Northern Ireland, and Scotland and England together, and Wales used to be, it was also incorporated in England. So Scotland and England together is called Great Britain. So Scotland is not an independent nation. It's part of the nation called Britain. But every constituent country of this union called the United Kingdom has its own institutions, so they also have their own police force. Now you have the British police force, that's overall, but you also have the local police force. That's why it doesn't say British police, that's Scotland police over here. Also important. Now, there is a thing that Scottish people want to be independent from the United Kingdom. I don't think that's about to happen anytime soon, but okay, this is not about Scottish independence, but just want to point this out to you. So this case is politically sensitive. It happened in Scotland, and the Scottish police, the police Scotland went into it, not the British police. So that shows you that Scottish police kind of felt like they have something to prove in their policy. I'm talking about police officers. Okay, you see the image. She died in December 2005. Okay, here it begins. The family of a Swedish student who died in bizarre circumstances in Scotland in 2005 have been refused postmortem photographs, which they believe could unlock the mystery of her death. 15 years ago, 4 December 2005, Annie Bergson's body was discovered by a dog walker face down on Prestwick Beach in Ayrshire. I may pronounce it badly, I don't speak Scottish, forgive me. The talented linguist and singer had traveled from her apartment in Edinburgh to Prestwick Airport the day before, intending to go on standby and catch a Ryanair flight to Sweden. But less than 24 hours later, she was discovered on a beach just a mile from the airport. Today, on the anniversary of her death, and his family members have again appealed to the Scottish authorities to help them find closure. Okay, before I continue, what is the most disturbing thing you find in the article till now? Not the long sentences, but what that has been shared here is extremely disturbing. What do you think? Let me know in the live chat. Let me know. I'll give you a minute to answer. Based on all that we share, all that we've went through now, what is the most disturbing part of this? There are no wrong answers. Please let me know in the live chat. What do you think is the most disturbing part of this till now? We haven't even finished the article yet, but what's the most disturbing till now? Okay, someone said the picture. What does the rest say? I mean, please don't worry. Don't look at the ads, please. Okay. John, thanks for the super chat donations. Very much appreciated. I'm glad with your contribution. It all goes to this ministry. All right. You have a half a minute more. What's the most disturbing part till now? Okay. 50 seconds more. Well, To do this, I need to use some Google Maps. So let me go to maps.google.com. Google Maps has a tendency to show your address immediately when you go in. That's why I shut down uh, down the screen sharing first. There are too many stalkers online for them to find out where I'm actually residing. So that's why I did that. So let me go back to the screen sharing. All right. All right. Screen is back on. If it's correct, can you see it? All right. Screen is back on. It is Edinburgh. It's the capital of Scotland. Even before Scotland was unified with England into Great Britain. As you can see, this Edinburgh over here. It's not an isolated city because at the shores, it's near Glasgow over here. You have smaller towns around. And here you have the border of Scotland and England. From here, you have many roads into England also. Newcastle-upon-Tyne is the closest area over there. It's close to the Lake District. So also a Roman monument nearby, I believe. So, and from Edinburgh, you can also go to the Scottish Highlands over here, or in the lake. You also have this lake where the so-called Loch Ness Monster resides. So let's look at the geography over here, Edinburgh, and then let's look at Stockholm, the capital of Sweden. Now, let me measure the distance. It's around 1312 kilometers. I don't know how much it is in miles because I don't use the mile system around here. Now, there are flights from Edinburgh to Stockholm. Is that what happened to her? Did she die in Edinburgh? No, she did not. She traveled from Edinburgh all the way to Prestwick. Well, why? Because there's an airport right over there nearby. Hold on. Yes, here's the airport. Glasgow Prestwick Airport is a shared airport between Prestwick and Glasgow. I try to use Scottish pronunciation as much as possible in here. And she was found. Let's go back to the article. Ayrshire. A shire is a division used in Britain. Okay? Ayrshire. Here you have Ayr over here. So let me get it straight. This young, intelligent woman, knowing full well that there are flights from Edinburgh to her homeland, went all the way to this tiny airport over here, which was quite remote. And 24 hours later, she was found in this other town over here. Why did she make the effort to go all the way here? Or maybe she was low on cash, or well, there are cheap flights in Europe. So what the heck? And Ryanair is known to have cheap flights to begin with. So that was the most disturbing part. But if you would read it, you may think was the disturbing part was she was found dead. Okay, we know she was found dead. But that's an important detail, the distance. All right, so let's continue. Where were we? Okay. Maria Jonsson, Annie's best friend and a close confidant of the family, told Sky News, "We have been fighting for such a long time to put pressure on them, the Scottish authorities, to reopen Annie's case and finally do what they should have done after she was found dead. The importance here is that the Scottish authorities have not done their very best into doing a proper investigation into Annie's death in suspicious circumstances, regardless what the cause was. Again, Scottish authorities, not British authorities. That shows you the division, shows you that the division of Britain. Okay. Police Scotland has consistently told Sky News that Annie's death was fully investigated at the time and has been subject to review. Review by whom? Okay. It is the Prestwick Beach. It's around this area she was found face down. No, look. I know this may not be the exact area, but this is how the area looks like. I'm sorry, but just look at this, guys and ladies. Look at this. You have an airport right over here. Okay. You have railways. So this is not just a small village somewhere. Oh, there's even a beach club over there. Oh, Lord. Ah, there's a castle over there too. Okay, let's do it like this, guys. Wow, there's a castle over there. Look at all those houses. There's a beach club over there. There's a harbor over there for trade. Here in the other town, there's an airport even. Whoa, this is not a place in the middle of nowhere. Yes, it's a beach, but such a place has life. Even at night, people are active here and there. And it's only this one guy in the morning. Or was it the morning? Was it one guy in the morning walking a dog that saw her laying face down? Nobody heard her scream or whatever? Hmm. All right, let's continue. And both Scottish and Swedish authorities have always cited the most likely cause of death to be drowning by suicide. Most likely. So they're not certain. Scottish and Swedish. Sweden is a kingdom. All right? Scotland is a constituent country the of the United Kingdom. They don't even mention the British authorities. So nationwide police of Britain was not involved in solving the case. It was only the Scottish authorities. That means that the police headquarters in London that supervises all the police of of Britain was not interested in getting involved. I mean, the superiors in London should have figured out that, hey, there's an international student that died over there on suspicious circumstance. You know what? We need to give a press release. We need to get involved. Why didn't that happen? Why did the pressure remain on the Scottish authorities instead of the British authorities that are above the Scottish authorities? Okay. But the family highlight the fact that they were never granted an inquest, known as fatal incident inquiry in Scotland. They say they lost confidence in the authorities just days after their daughter's death when a local newspaper reported that police were not treating the case as suspicious, despite the fact a postmortem had yet to be conducted. Wow. I mean, just wow. So a postmortem, and that means that the autopsy was not even properly done yet. It still had to begin. And already the local media was telling the police is not serious about the case. Now, I know that there are some of those newspapers out there were just gossiping, but this is not a gossiping matter. If the local media even dare to embarrass the police like this, it's because they know something. All right? Okay, so let's continue. In the weeks that followed, a funeral director in London, tasked with repatriating Anne's body to Sweden, raised concerns over markings on her body. Whoa. So it was a funeral director, not from Glasgow, not from Edinburgh, not from Ayrshire, nor from, what's the town's name again? Prestwick. It was a funeral director all the way from London, where the central, what's where the national government is that supervises Scotland. He was the one that became concerned with markings on her body. All right, okay, let me go back. These questions and more started the family on a 15-year journey to try to discover what brought about their daughter's death. In 2019, Miss Börjesson's story was brought into sharp focus by the Sky News Storykast podcast, What Happened to Annie? Following the six-part series, the Swedish Foreign Ministry released previous unseen correspondence with their Scottish counterparts in relation to the death. However, it also emerged that files had been classified as secret. Sky News was told by a Swedish official that the release may harm national interest. Hold on over here. Did I read that correctly? Please, all of you in the live chat, correct me if I misread this. Okay? Let me read it one more time. Following the six-part series done by Sky News in 2019, hold on, didn't she die in 2005? So 2019, how many years after that was that? Okay, let's count. 2005, 2020 is 15, that's 14 years later. Sky News is a six-part series discussing the case. The Swedish Foreign Ministry released previous unseen correspondence with their Scottish counterparts in relation to her death. So the Swedish government was talking to the Scottish government, or you can say British government, about the case. But hold on a minute. They should be talking to the British government because Scotland is not a sovereign nation. That's violating international law. If you have to discuss something that happened into another country, you deal with the ones that run the country, not the ones who run a jurisdiction. Scotland is a jurisdiction of United Kingdom. You should talk to the British authorities. But anyway, however, it's also emerged that files has been classified as secret, quote unquote, national interest. Wow, hold on a minute. You mean to tell me that if the pictures of the autopsies would come out, that it may harm the national interest of Sweden? So Sweden as a nation may suffer loss or harm when it comes out? Okay, let's read further. Since then, her parents have made two Freedom of Information requests for copies of their daughter's postmortem photographs. These requests have been so far refused on the grounds that they may cause the family distress. It was all stated that their disclosure was not in the public interest. Huh? Huh? Whoa. Let's read it one more time. Since then, her parents have made two Freedom of Information requests. Why two? One should have been enough for copies of their daughter's postmortem photographs. These requests have so far been refused on the grounds that they may cause the family distress. Well, the family is in distress because one of their members died in a suspicious way, and they are the ones asking for the pictures of the autopsy. They know it's going to be disturbing what they're about to see. They know they're willing to go through it because they want to figure it out. So to say that, oh, we can't show you the pictures, it may cause you stress. Well, they're already under stress. It was all stated that their disclosure was not in the public interest. Public interest. That is what society. The family have told Sky News that they want the post-mortem photographs to be viewed by an independent pathologist, and for the case to be given the public examination, it was never granted. That's correct. On the weekend Annie died, she was filmed on CCTV leaving Prestwick International train station and soon after entering the main terminal at the airport herself. However, after spending less than 5 minutes in the building, she left suddenly without ever checking in for that evening's flight to Sweden. There was an evening flight to Sweden. She never took it. During the recovery of her body from the beach, police discovered her passport, wallet, and some books belonging to a Swedish library in a bag beside her. Okay, this is a bit weird. So a bag beside her. So she was laying. So they found her dead, laying on her face down in the water, and her bag was beside her. So someone, if you're about to commit suicide, why do you take your bag off of you? Why even bring your passport if you're about to commit suicide? It doesn't add up. Why bring those books that you got from a Swedish library? Because obviously you want to bring back the books to Swedish library. Why even do that if you're about to kill yourself? Oh Lord. So next, I do hope the Scottish authorities can grant this request to release the postmortem photographs and that they are tiring after 15 years of trying. Now, this is just one article. And now, I want you guys to think about this for a moment. By the way, this is her. This was her on CCTV footage leaving the airport. These are some other images of her over here. Now, there are some more disturbing things about this case. I believe this is her mom over here with a picture of her daughter. But, but look at this. How can the death of a Swedish student be so sensitive to the public interest of Sweden? That means that it may have been Swedish involvement in the case. That's why. Look, I'm not into conspiracy theories over here. I do not. I'm not into that conspiracy thinking. I'm looking at facts over here. If she was killed by a sex predator, then the British have something to prove. I mean, the Scottish because have to prove that they have to catch the bad guy to show they don't tolerate such stuff in their homeland. If it was a suicide for real, why not conduct the wait till autopsy and actually reveal the picture? Say, okay, this is a suicide. This is why. Show the proof. And here's the thing: it is not the Scottish that refuse to release anything. It's the Swedish authorities, not the Scottish. So the Swedish authorities have the postmortem pictures. So it's up to them to inform the family, which are Swedish subjects, Swedish citizens. I say subject because Sweden is a kingdom. So what is so sensitive about this young woman dying that the kingdom of Sweden has to keep it concealed? Now, some may have theorized that, well, Rashid, there was another woman, this one from the United States, who had almost the same name as her, because there are a lot of Americans from Swedish ancestry also. So there was another woman named with almost the same name, and this other woman from the United States was a journalist. And the journalist revealed some scandals from what the U.S. military was doing in Iraq, torturing people. And it's no coincidence they're both blonde-haired females, white, and they're both critical of the United States. Now, just because this Swedish student was critical of the United States does not mean automatically that the CIA actually killed her or whatever. Because if the CIA was about to kill any foreigner that's suspicious of the United States, they would have to kill a big portion of the human population. They're not going to do that. So that's theory that she was mistaken for this other woman with the same name, it doesn't hold much credibility. It does not. But then there's another part of this case that was not discussed here by Sky News. Let's see if it's over here. Okay, this was a part of a newspaper where she asked whether the CIA killed her daughter, confusing her with the other journalist. But okay, let's look at this. There was this other guy involved. So I'm going to read from here. All right. Here's where her body was found, allegedly. Annie was a multi-talented, loving 30-year-old Swedish woman who knew 5 languages by heart. Wow, you hear that? 5 languages. She's quite talented. That's why I say multi-talented. Loved to play rugby and was active in a band that played all over Europe. Whoa. So she was not an unknown individual. She was not famous like a celebrity, but she wasn't unknown. A woman brimming with the promise of a well-lived life. Her body was found at 8:30 a.m. on Edinburgh. What? This thing is not right. It's not an Edinburgh bridge was found. It was washed in the sea. But look at this. I want you to think about this. If she was so multi-talented, why didn't why wasn't she embraced by Swedish society? Prestwick Beach, whoever wrote this article made a mistake over here. Anyway, it's unforgiven, but listen. Think about it. She knew 5 languages. She played in a band. She was a linguistic. She loved Scotland. She spent a big part of her time over there. She made some social contacts over there, but think about it. How come she was so talented? And remember, is Swedish society is quite feministic. Swedish society is quite feministic. For those who are not aware of it, just research for yourself. I would dare to say extremely feministic, but I'm going to keep it polite right now. In this in this left-wing feminist society, you have this blonde, Nordic-looking female, a native from Sweden, that's so talented, but she got no recognition nor praise in Swedish society. She often went to Scotland. How many of you see there's something wrong over here? How come a feminist left society does not endorse one of their feminist females who's so talented? She shouldn't even have fallen in love in Scotland to begin with. Should have fallen in love with her own homeland. Should have been embraced by her own homeland. But was that the case? Okay, let's continue. The week before her death, okay, I'm sorry, I forgot this. Other than being an infamous poorly investigated, a suspicious man named Martin Leslie lies at the root of the mystery. Oh, let's look what is Martin Leslie. The week before her death, he appeared at her local swimming pool and tried to ask her out. Oh, hold on a minute. How does the guy know she was at the local swimming pool? So he must have followed her around. He must have paid attention to her rhythm. I mean, she went to the swimming pool from time to time, and he was there trying to ask her out. Just when do you ask a woman out at a swimming pool? It can happen, but it's not the usual way to do it. This encounter seemed normal. Huh? Seemed normal? Are you serious? However, that man apparently shared all of her various interests and was creepily persistent. What? So a man comes to a swimming pool where you're swimming, so likely either she was wearing a bathing suit or a bikini, and he shares all your interests. He's a complete match to you. And he was persistent. This a creep was persistent because he wouldn't take no for an answer. It was also not her first encounter with him. He had somehow followed her to her ever frequent hangouts, the Murrayfield Warriors Rugby Club. It felt like the man was following her around, Annie's best friend Maria Johnson said. Annie met this man whom she knew as Martin Leslie 2 times during her last week in life. The first meeting made her feel almost a little scared. And during our last phone call, she told me about his strange behavior at a rugby gathering at Morringfield Rugby Club, and she told me that she had now decided to try and keep away from this man. Okay, Maria, that means the friend, the best friend, I would say the friend of Annie. Maria said that the man would aggressively insist Annie drink with him, and she even told her family that he was nothing short of a sexual predator. They were right to be worried. Investigation revealed that the real Martin Leslie was never in Scotland during those days. Annie's last email was also to Martin, and it wasn't a pleasant one. The imposter Martin was never caught. How could he? When the police had ruled the death to be a suicide. Now hold on a minute. So the week before she was found dead, this man who claimed to be the famous New Zealand rugby player, because there is a well-known rugby player from New Zealand called Martin Leslie. And Martin Leslie did play in a British, I believe he did play in a British football rugby team before. So, but here's this thing: the real Martin Leslie was New Zealand at the time. He was in Britain now. So this man fakes being this famous rugby player. And by the way, how can he be a famous rugby player and nobody recognizes him over there? So Annie was aware this man was bad news. But if he was so creepily persistent, did nobody else notice his behavior? So how come this was a known thing, but they keep insisting it's a suicide? Okay, let's read further. The case riddled with the deliberately flawed investigation and suspicious details that would have made any novice investigator withholding from ruling Annie's death as a suicide. That made the Swedish police behavior more alarming. Okay. All phone call records from the last 3 days had been wiped clean off of Annie's cell phone. Her mother, Kuya Börjesson, and best friend Marie had engaged in several concerned phone calls with her, where Annie told them that she had something to take care of. Not only that, but Annie's email records were wiped entirely out too. That was no ordinary case. The evidence that apparently made her death suicide was full of loopholes. And CCTV footage showed a figure wearing a backpack heading out of the train station. The police said that this was Annie. Their only reason was the backpack. A retired detective with the Lothians and Port Police contested this. He said, I have extensive experience of examining CCTV footage, and I must say honestly that the images from the station road are rubbish. I may assume that it's Annie. With that, with what with time and travel direction, but detectives should never assume. They work with facts, not assumptions. We know Annie ended up on the beach, but the whole story is not known. It would prove to be quite misleading. The two men weren't sure if the figure was a man or a woman. They couldn't see from that far of a distance, but of course the police never asked them either. Okay, so the reason I talk about this case is because a lot of people watch this case. There are documentaries about the case. There are a lot of people on YouTube talking about the case. I won't even go through about a lot of people use this case just to get views also. They make a sensational thing about it. I don't do that. What I'm pointing out here is that this woman, she knew something. That's what it comes down to. She knew something. Now, I'm not going to assume what she may have known, but she knew something. Or better said, she found out something. And the thing she found out, if that would have become public, it would have caused public outrage in Sweden. That's why. I'm not saying the Swedish government did it. I'm not assuming that. But whatever she knew didn't only concern Sweden. There were also people in Scotland, where she was living at the time, that were a bit concerned with what she knew. Maybe it was a conversation she overheard, or maybe it was some information that got into her hands that was intended for her, or maybe she was dating a guy and that guy had loose lips and revealed something. Anyway, she found out about something. She spoke multiple languages. Remember? So if someone was discussing a drug deal in a language she knows, she may have pretended like couldn't hear it, but she would have heard anything. She knew something, and what she knew is what got her killed. Some may say, she might still be alive. I doubt that. I doubt that. Because this whole case makes both Scotland and Sweden look bad. Why would Sweden and Scotland, and by the way, Scotland is part of the UK. Why would the UK and Sweden embarrass themselves by faking this woman's death? They wouldn't. They need the public's trust to function as nation states. So they wouldn't risk that way. I can understand them faking the death of a witness to a crime or the death of some contested politician. Let me tell you one thing, saints. What you know can get you in trouble. Now, I'm not saying this was scary thing like that, but what you know may get you in trouble. If this Annie only spoke Swedish and English, and she wasn't that multi-talented, she may not have been perceived as any threat. But because she had all that potential, she was able to do more. And let me tell you one thing, saints. In this world, the more you're capable of, the more talent you have, the more you're perceived as a threat. Now, here's another thing about this case. She was 30 already. Where was the man in her life? Look, I don't care how feminist your homeland is. I don't care how leftist the environment is you grew up in. I'm not saying she was leftist, but left-wing politics has swayed Sweden for a long time, and she grew up in in that time period. She's a woman, and she's designed to long for a male companion. For a male companion, she is. She's even designed to want male management in her life. That's how God designed the female. Where was the man in her life? And by the way, who wouldn't want a multi-talented female that's good looking like her? Why didn't she have any men by that age already? Look, some say, Rashid, that's a bit disrespectful to ask. I don't do respect. I do honor and basic human decency. And that also means when there are questions that need to be asked, I ask them. Oh, Rashid, maybe there was a boyfriend at the side she kept secret. Okay. If there was a man she had kept to the side she was hanging out with, doing their thing, why didn't that man come out? Listen, in the beginning of this live stream, I said, I spoke a sentence. Who remember the sentence I spoke at the beginning of this live stream that I wanted you to repeat in the live chat? I asked you to repeat a sentence in the live chat in the beginning. Who can remember that sentence? Please write it again in live chat, please. Please write it again. What was the thing I said in the beginning of this live stream that I want you to repeat? For those who are here, please write it again. I'll give you enough minutes. All right. What I said was privacy is not power, prudence is. Now, when you look at this case, when you look at this case, Was this woman prudent? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? Was this woman prudent? Was Annie Börjesson prudent? Was she? Let me know in the live chat. What do you think? After that, I have another question, so I'll just give you 1 minute to answer this one over here. Was she prudent? Well, and let me answer the second question. Was she private? So two questions. Was she prudent? Second, was she private? Please answer them. I'll give you I'll give you 1 minute. Okay, Tammy doesn't think she was prudent. All right. But the second, for those who didn't answer the first question, answer the first question, was she prudent? Second, was she private? I'll give you a minute to answer. No, Joanna doesn't think she was prudent either. So we can conclude that she wasn't prudent. She wasn't that private either. But what I want to point out here is the following. She told her friend in Sweden about this man that she considered creepy. Why didn't she tell everyone around there in Scotland where she was about this man? Look, the moment she was approached by the guy, she should have realized this is bad. And this guy is persisting like this. How come this guy is so comfortable persisting at me like this? Because he knows the public wouldn't do anything about it. That's why. She should. I'm not saying that if she would have done what I'm saying now, she would still be alive. I'm not trying to assume that I know the best, but come on. The moment you notice red flags, get out of the situation. Get out of the situation the moment you notice red flags. She stayed in Scotland, at least. You could have said, you know what, let me take the train towards London or let me go somewhere else. She stayed in the same environment where danger was growing. And that's not a good idea ever. Look at this, Saints. You have a good looking, multi talented 30-year-old female without any husband, without any male guidance in her life. She's in a foreign country, away from her family. She's a bit closed off socially. And now she has this man following her around. Do you think that this man just decided to look at her and think, oh, I want this woman? I mean, was she the only good looking female around? No. That man could have easily gone to a pub in Scotland where you have a lot of those easy females that go, and he could have got any of them. Was she the only good looking female student there in Edinburgh? No. You know what I'm about to say, Saints. This sounds like an inside job. Again, I'm not going to speculate too much. The way the Scottish and the Swedish authorities handle this, it all points to an inside job. That means secretly they're happy she's gone. It seems like they're happy this woman is gone, just she's not around anymore. What did she know? I don't know she was aware of. Maybe her family mm, has figured out what she was aware of. They just don't want to talk about it. Look, in this lifetime, you have to be aware of one thing. You cannot act against your intuition and not expect to face any bad consequences. The Heavenly Father designed us a certain way. If you follow the design of the Heavenly Father, even in this fallen world, it keeps you out of trouble. A, I'm not here to hurt people's feelings. I'm an outsider. So I look at it based on facts. I look at the bigger picture. The way this woman was acting brought her in trouble. She was regularly going to the rugby club. She regularly went to certain place. I mean, if you build up a pattern that you operate in, you become predictable. And once you're predictable, it's easy for people to set you up. Why didn't anyone tell her that? Well, because when you grow up in a leftist family society, the this thing called privacy is quite valued, saying it's your life, do what you want, you're a grown individual, blah blah blah. Hold on. If you grew up with such thinking, you've been taught to sabotage yourself. I don't care how long you've been on the earth. I don't care that you're a grown individual, that you're an adult. People should know things about you. I'm not telling you to tell people everything about you. No, that's not smart. But people must know something about you. Haven't you noticed that it's mainly her relatives and a friend in Sweden who kept pushing for this? Where are all the people she came in contact with in Scotland? Why don't you hear nor see any of the people that hung out with her in Scotland coming out and pushing for the truth? There's also with why is it that it's the Swedish folks, her her family, and that one friend who keep insisting? What also all those other people she met in Scotland? Remember, she was happy to be in Scotland. She loves being there. That means all the people she was involved with there just threw away like trash, or they just don't want to ask any questions. Or it can be that the people in Scotland that she was involved with or around, it can be that they know full well what happened, but they just don't want to open their mouth because they don't want to be involved, just want to be left alone. That can also be the case. And if that's the case, it can also be that this setup was something they were all in upon. Just think about it. You have this foreigner coming to your homeland, knowing 5 languages, multi talented, and she kind of has smooth success in her life. How would that make the locals feel? Oh, and this foreigner is also good looking and she gets a lot of attention. That will trigger some type of envy, jealousy, or let's say invidia into a lot of people. And we know how fallen mankind is. When they cannot sabotage you, they want to shut you down. And let me tell you one thing. Now, this is my look on the case. I may be wrong. If I'm wrong, I'm wrong. But it seems that the Scottish police was aware that this woman was not liked by the environment. It can be that they are aware that there were people with a negative focus on this woman. And it can be that the Scottish police figured out that, you know what? It may be for a reason why this woman went all the way to Prestwick to catch an airplane and she didn't take one from Edinburgh, which was quite close. It can be that this woman wanted to escape uh, once she realized the animosity against her. So if we investigate this case, we have to talk to all those people that were against her. And once this happens, it's going to lead to a big scandal. And that big scandal will make Scotland look bad. And that may harm the tourism, that may harm the social trust around here. So that's how I see the cases. I mean, if the police does not want to investigate, want to brush it off, it's because they know that if they investigate this case, a lot of dirt is coming out. So this is what I'm teaching you, saints. Look at the context, not just the content. And the context of this case shows you it's an inside job. If they want to figure out the case, they have to go to Edinburgh and speak to all the people who were involved with her and all the people that were around her. Those are a lot of people. They have to speak to all of them. I'm sure if they would do that, they'll hear some very creepy stories. Simple as that. All right. So let me get this straight. If even let me say it was a funeral director that noticed the scars on her body and realized, hold on, or noticed the marks on her body, think, hold on a minute, it can't be suicide. Don't tell the police they didn't notice that. They did. So look, again, I'm not going into conspiracy route and all of that. I'm not doing that. What I'm pointing here is that when you have potential in this world, I don't care whether you're a believer or unbeliever. You having potential means you need to learn to conceal yourself. Again, I'm not telling you to become paranoid and to go and live on an uninhabited island in the Pacific or to Antarctica. I'm not telling you to do that. You have to be amongst other people. You have to move around in society. You're not part of society, but you have to move around it. Just like the Bible says, you're in the world, but not of the world. But listen, if you are gifted in this lifetime, watch out that you don't end up as a lamb amongst raging wolves. This woman was surrounded by wolves and she wasn't even aware of it. And you know what happened? After she was devoured, all the other wolves didn't even come out. That shows you there were wolves. I'm not saying that everyone involved with her was a snake or a wolf or some cutthroat individual, but she had wolves around her. But A, she didn't even notice that until it was too late. So, if I'm wrong about the case, I'm wrong about it. Nevertheless, I made this live stream to alert you. If you're gifted, be sure that you are going to get some enemies, some people that want to sabotage you just to feel good about themselves. That's how fallen mankind operates. It can't handle that that you have opportunities or that you have abilities they can't sabotage. The ultimate sabotage the world has is to take your life. The second, besides that, is to mutilate your body to disable you for life. But besides mutilating and disabling your body, the ultimate way to sabotage is by taking away your life, by killing you. And that is what they decided to do with this woman over here. So, what does she know? What does she know? I don't know. What I do know is that we need to learn from this case. We have to learn from it. So, there are more cases like this out there that are considered a mystery, but hey, it's not that mysterious. Because I haven't seen any media outlet considering the option is an inside job by the locals. I haven't seen anyone consider, you know what, maybe it was envidia, jealousy, and envy involved because they don't want to go there. They don't want to go there. That's why. Well, I hope the family and friends that survive this woman will figure out the truth one day so that they can process it, because it must be quite horrible for them not be able to finish this, not process chapter of their lives. But that's what I want to tell you. Beware with your surroundings. Be prudent. Do not be reckless. Do not be proud. Be prudent. That is how you need to be in this lifetime. Do you know that a lot of people go missing and later bodies are found? And till this day, decades later, there's still a cold case. In I already told you, cold cases are cases that the public doesn't want to have resolved, similar to this case. Oh, it must be a suicide, even though forensic evidence disproves the suicide thesis. The suicide possibility is ruled out by all the evidence, all the proof around it, but still keep saying suicide. Never underestimate how far the public will go to preserve their daily ease. And if they need to sacrifice you by taking your life to preserve their ease, they will do it. Let me tell you, people in Scotland know very well what happened to this woman. The people walking around knowing it in detail. There may even be people in Sweden who figured it out, but they just won't talk because they're afraid of backlash. Well, this does not only count for women, all right? It's not only for the women. It counts for you, brothers in the faith also. Be prudent, be vigilant, be alert. Don't be paranoid, don't be fearful, but be prudent. Do not, do not go through life as if you are an autopilot. Don't do that. It will not work out well for you. I can guarantee you that. Amen. Well, we have come to the end of this live stream. I don't have, I have my weekend already right now, so that's good. So, are there any questions about this topic? And if you have any remarks about this case, also you can give them now in the live chat. So if you have questions or remarks, just let me know in the live chat now. After this live stream, I'm going to I'm going to fellowship to the phone again. I was thinking about doing two live streams tonight, but I won't keep it at one. It's just one live stream for now. I'll do another live stream tomorrow. So if you have any questions, please ask them. Yes, Tammy, I worked my hours at the tax and customs administration for this week, so no over hours for me. I use those other hours for other productive endeavors. So I won't be talking about taxes for coming days. Absolutely not. So okay. By the way, Joanna, Tammy, feel free to fellowship with one another through Telegram. You can also message one another in private if you want to discuss topics or whatever. So you're both believers, walking by faith. I believe I'm still my age too. But anyway, thank you all for being here. Again, keep agreeing with Christ and remember, privacy is not power, prudence is. Agree with Christ, be at peace. I'll see you next time.